Hello. I don't know how relevant I will be with this topic and whether I will have time to release a video during the holidays, and I don't know if it will get any views. But this is personal. So let's begin. Each of you has something that you remember during Christmas and New Year. Association. Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life, Arkham Origins. But there is someone who literally became a Christmas toy thanks to one book. Of course I'm talking about the Nutcracker, a creative and interactive Nutcracker tool from Germany. The original book by Ernst Theodor Amadeus Hoffmann is considered by many to be a simple linear adventure. But this is a first glance. At the end of the video we will refute this opinion. The music of Pyotr Tchaikovsky, based on the text by Marius Petipa and created for the ballet by Lev Ivanov, brought much greater popularity to this character. These melodies are loved by people all over the planet. And to be honest, this is a masterpiece of sound art. What should any popular book have? Of course I'm talking about the film adaptation. The Nutcracker has a tremendous amount of on-screen options. There's supposed to be a multiverse joke here, but I didn't make it up. In addition to solo appearances, the Nutcracker appeared in many places as a cameo, or rather thematic episode. Oh, hi! I searched all over the internet and found more and more appearances of the character in different projects. Therefore, I decided to choose film adaptation for analysis according to my criteria. Just imagine the situation. Weekend, you've watched all the Christmas movies, and you think, the Nutcracker, which adaptation should you choose? No one but me will think that. A clear example of how computer graphics are becoming obsolete. The plot may be bad, designs may be unattractive, making animation is difficult. Okay, I shouldn't have chosen this at all. Cool, this is anime. Oh. You know, it's not that bad. Yes, the animation is not energetic. The designs are kind of poor, but there is a nice color palette. Here that creates a magical atmosphere. Lots of pink, red and green. This is a normal cartoon that you could find on VHS or DVD. However, no, this is not the same adaptation. Now this is interesting. An animated film straight from Canada. Sorry, I will be quick to praise the paints here again. But this time it's the orange color that creates the magic. I didn't use a filter. Agree with me, the warmth of the fireplace emanates from the screen. There is nice animation, a simple plot presentation and Tchaikovsky's music is also present. Here's a simple designs, it's not bad, but the characters are not memorable. Now tell me, which of these two is Nutcracker? No, I'm kidding. When the prince comes to life in the story, he becomes a sweet soldier with red cheeks. For what? Perhaps this is an artistic decision? I can understand it, but I can't accept it. Conventional ugliness is an integral part of the character. There's also a moment here where he looks in the mirror and is surprised because toy? This braid is also very funny. I know it's in a lot of Nutcracker designs. But when it's a hard handle for cracking nuts, it looks fine. And this looks more like a cat's tail. It's not a bad version, but it's not the best either.
Let's move on.
What the
Here you go. Who if not the Disney studio can cope? So many years of experience adapting fairy tales. They can also afford a large budget. Can't wait to see what kind of animated film they make. Look, this movie got a lot of critical reviews. Let me tell you a personal story, please. You know the trailers that are shown on TV during commercials, TV spots. My mother and I were sitting in the kitchen. The spot of this movie started on TV. And my mom knew that it was the first character in my life that I fell in love with. I was about 5 or 6 years old. Look, she and my grandfather even made me the Nutcracker themselves. And these guys still exist. So, my mom pulls my hand. On the screen, frames from the film simply change, and the background there is magical music and voiceover, like, "Go on a magical adventure." When it was over, Mother looked at me in bewilderment and asked, "Where's Nutcracker?" I can't tell this story any other way. Sorry. Let's stop here, shall we? I like this idea. This film is not about the Nutcracker at all, actually, but rather about her. I won't criticize or praise here. Much more interesting live action awaits us. You know, incompatible things together can create something interesting. Deconstruction, improvement, or something like that. Let's imagine cute things. What, or rather who, is the cutest in the world? Well, of course animals. Are dogs cute? Certainly. Are piglets cute? Certainly. Are mice cute? Sometimes. But what if... This is not a completely correct comparison, but I really don't know how to talk about the illusion that Andrei Konchalovsky created in this film. The mice here were replaced with rats, so you understand exactly. How can I explain? If you just take some sweet, innocent image and try to add something dark, contradictory to it, this might work. But when you take a ready-made concept and try to push something extra into it, this is a very bad idea. Let's say this movie doesn't want to be intended for family viewing. There are a lot of frightening images, a oppressive atmosphere, scary cheap decorations, and generally a very strange vibe. Outdoor cinema with a free interpretation of the Nutcracker. Okay, but even so, it's still bad. The main character's design consists of simple shapes. It's not bad, but it's boring. They also made it so dark that we couldn't see the quality of the graphics. Whew, I'm so glad to finally talk about this movie. I was still a child when it came out and was really looking forward to it. Imagine having a favorite character and one day you found out that he or she will have a live action movie. Okay, I get it. Huh? I decided to check out of this movie because the Nutcracker isn't just a guest character or background theme. I actually think this is the best Barbie movie. I was surprised to realize that this was the first cartoon about the famous doll that was released specifically for physical media.
And it seems that it was a success.
An abundance of pink is present here not only to create a fairy tale atmosphere, and given the quality of the graphics, it sometimes hurt the eyes. But both the secondary and main characters are very colorful here. The animation is clumsy, but okay. I wasn't bored. However, does a commercial product about two famous toys have the right to become a cult film adaptation of one of them? Of course not. And I'm not sure about the local Nutcracker design. I'm never liked it when he had a mustache. Why? This must be the young prince. Have you seen teenagers' mustaches?
Holy God, what are you showing me? His head. Come on!
Okay, let's stop at the fact that it just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. I can say one thing. Don't make a mistake. Don't watch the English version of this movie.
It's a trap.
First of all, this is not just translation and dubbing. They really tried to adapt this film. Check it out. The original has its own original soundtrack. It may sound a little boring, but I think it sounds like a balance between fairy tale adventure and drama. And there's a lot of drama here. But in the adaptation, all this was replaced with Tchaikovsky's music, which is included at inappropriate moments.
But it sounds familiar.
Look at this scene. Beautiful, is not it? Surely the animators were inspired by a moment from the movie Beauty and the Beast. Except this is the original version. And what's that? What kind of cheap 3D graphics is this? For what? Or watch how cool the Nutcracker turns back into a human. This is an important plot point. Ah, no, never mind. I can search for such scene for a long time, but that doesn't make sense. Most likely, the people who worked on this adaptation want to do better. But you don't have to do this! When you need to show a project from another country, you must do everything to convey the spirit of the original. The viewer must see the peculiarities of cinema and the culture of another country. I especially want to praise the animation and art design of this film. This is all frame-by-frame animation. Can you imagine? Look at this dress with detailing flowers. Or check out this atmospheric backgrounds. Or look at how detailed the details from the world of toys are. It's just an amazing fight between toys and mice. I'm sure Ridley Scott was inspired by this scene while filming Napoleon. The plot shows the complete transformation of the main character from a spoiled prince with a wooden heart into a person who loves someone and is loved by someone. But the Nutcracker is not the main character alone. The girl named Maria has the same importance in the plot as the prince. She's a strong female character in the most appropriate sense you can imagine. But there are also disadvantages. And this is voice acting. Not only English. In the original Russian, the Mouse King sounds like a mix of Squidward and SpongeBob. This voice is very funny and fits the character. He's a spoiled little brat, and the main villain is his grandmother. And in English he... meh.
Так рано? Надо посмотреть. Давайте, понимаете меня.
Perhaps I'd be of more use as a...
His assistants are also very funny. These are the classic archetypes of fat and thin.
Thin is smart and his voice conveys this quality.
But Fat speaks as if he were hiding something behind his cheeks and thinking only about food.
But if the trio of mice sounds emotional, then the main characters... oh god. Maria sounds like she's overacting and underperforming at the same time. But the most terrifying thing is the voice of the Nutcracker.
Отстань! Что вы? Я просто боюсь, вы можете упасть.
What kind of filter did they put on, and what is the actor trying to do?
Maybe they're trying to make it look like it was a wooden toy talking, but it turned out so-so.
Moreover, when the prince is in the form of a human, he talks like a normal 30-year-old teenager. If you want me to make a fun dub of this cartoon, write in the comments. And of course, the Nutcracker design is amazing. It differs from ordinary soldiers in its square shape and combined head and body. Large teeth are not just a distinctive feature, but also a functional feature. What's the result? Despite the low rating, would I like to call this the best Nutcracker adaptation? Of course yes. I really like the animation, the storytelling, the action scene and the designs of everything. And you know, it seems that in Russia the book about the Nutcracker is understood and felt better than in the rest of the world. But there are only some people who did it better than the Russian creators.
Soviet creators.
This is the same. I love this masterpiece. The visual style is simply stunning. Everything seems to be drawn on crystal and scattered on paper. I haven't seen anything like it. It looks very toasty and fabulous. The animation is smooth. All objects and backgrounds are detailed. And yeah, this Nutcracker design is just perfect. But do you know what's best? It doesn't matter what country you're from or what language you speak. The narration of this cartoon consists of music and sound effects. The work was done to a high standard. The plot is excellent and close to the book. The only point I think is a little drawn it, when the prince and the girl who bewitched him dance. But you understand what kind of music is playing in the background. You need to enjoy it. It was important for me to just talk about my favorite childhood character. I recently remembered it when I found that same toy. And you know, I would like a big expensive film adaptation of that Nutcracker. And if you ask, who could show this story in a new way? I have the answer. Aardman. The teeth design of these guys is just made for the Nutcracker. And plasticine animation is an ideal option for demonstrating the world of magical toys. Maybe once. In conclusion, I would like to refute the opinion of the majority from the beginning of the video. The story of the Nutcracker is not a simple fairy tale. This is a deep story about each of us, about how often an ugly soul hides behind a beautiful appearance, and vice versa. Sometimes we are so carried away with ourselves that we do not notice how we are overgrown with wood and bark. We are looking for easy ways. We don't want to learn new information. We don't know enough facts, but we rush to draw conclusions. And the moral of the story is this: don't judge a book by its cover. Thank you for watching.